I have this Capital magnetic cam lock here. It has 3 magnetic rotors in it that you have to set using this key, which has an interesting magnetic pattern on it. I had looked at it and I saw, hopefully you can see that there, it's got a weird pattern on there, right? You can see that. And so I was like, how are we gonna, what is going on in here and how am I gonna attack this? And so I took a look on YouTube and I saw Legend of the Samurai had a video on this, and then I knew it would probably be pretty easy because he's going to go into detail, and indeed he did. One of the things I did that he also did was do that, and I saw that you can make out 3 rotors in there. Let's see if I can get a better view for that. Yeah, you see? We have 3 rotors in there. We have this bottom one, that one top left, and that one top right. And here you can see that if I take a rare earth magnet, you can change which way they're facing. See that? Actually, you can probably hear it. I'll turn on the microphone. And if you get these 3 oriented in the right direction, obviously it'll open. We can wiggle the back and you can see that it's locked, right? If we use the key, right here it has a little notch on that side. You can put the key in here and we'll open it like that, right? It'll turn all the way, but the key is getting blocked by the vise. The vise is a little too thick for this cam lock. I can take it out at the end and show the full operation. I've gone ahead and painted a little black line up here with X-Acto, or with Sharpie, sorry. It might not be able to easily be seen. When I turn it, maybe it's a little easier to see it. But the reason for that is that when I turn this, it's hard to tell that not the whole lock is turning, and that it's just turning this inner piece, which is where the first difficult part comes in. To tension this thing, Legend of the Samurai made this really fancy little brass insert with this wire that you can turn it with. I'm not nearly as fancy, so I have these comb picks that I don't use for anything, and it can fit across the width of this lock like that, and I can use it to turn the lock back and forth right now. And that's one thing, is when you lock this up, it's supposed to scramble it, but even though it's scrambling everything, once it's scrambled, you're removing the key and the rotors stay at their last position. So this seems like an insecure lock to me. When I lock it, we should see the rotors scramble, and now it's locked, right? The problem is that, you know, if I use the key, it would have been in the unlock position, and I pull it away. The thing comes with it because it's magnetic. Now we're unlocked again. So it seems like a kind of a silly lock to me. It hasn't quite figured out. But now with the magnet, I could scramble it up and it's locked, right? So now if I go with my comb here, I can rotate it that way. I can rotate it back, but it's locked. So what we have to do is start rotating these things and just testing. And what you can do is you can put tension until you have a binder and undo. And the thing is that the gates in this thing are really big, and so the lock biases towards the unlock easily. And within literally 5 seconds of starting to play with this, it opened. And I had just put this down here, somewhere down here, and I went to turn it, and then back and forth a little, and I got it open, just like that. So the reason for that is that if I scramble these up, the rotors, these bottom 2, the left and the bottom one face down in my particular bidding, and the top right one faces diagonal. So I don't know which way is south, which way is north, but let's say that this top of this magnet is north, so the magnets are going to be attracted with their south pole. So this one should be south down, and that one south, bottom left, right? So I just had the magnet around here, and it didn't open at first, but when I went back to lock it, and I go again, because the gates are so big, it just dropped into the gate, and you saw I did it twice there. So I just have bad bidding perhaps, or maybe these are just that easy. But if you didn't have that, what you'd have to do, and I keep getting stuck on that part right there, what you'd have to do, you scramble it up, is you apply a little tension here, and you see which ones are still rotating. When they're in their gate, they should actually, what I can do is I can put them all in their gate like this. When they're in the gate, they jiggle just a little, and you should be able to hear that. So that's the top right one jiggling, bottom one jiggling, top left one jiggling. If they are binding, so if I go and jumble it up again like this, you get no jiggle. So I know that that top right one is not set correctly, right? So I can go ahead, I can set it correctly, and now it jiggles in its true gate. There's no false gate. So actually it stopped jiggling. There we go. And I'm just using this because it's easier to tension, right? I could do it, of course, with my little comb pick. So that said, let's take a look at the inside of this and what's going on. Pull that out. All right, so first things first, take off the little useless bit at the back. And this is limiting the rotation to 90 degrees. There's a little nub here, so that thing can only turn 90 degrees. And then to get this out, you push, sorry, I'm covering, you push down on it, but it doesn't go down. And the reason for that is that down in the middle there, you can see two little pins. They're pressing out, and there's these 4 grooves in the side that only go down maybe about this far. So when you push down on it, the lock can't come out. And also because the pins are poking into those grooves, you can't unlock it, right? So what we have to do is grab the key like that. And now what's going to happen is that there's a little plunger at the bottom that's angled like a cone. It's going to drop down, or it can drop down rather, which we could push down like this. Now you can push it down. If we don't have the key, the key proper, I'm going to scramble it up because you go to push this. Now it only goes down that much, right? So we can maybe see it's going down maybe like a millimeter or less. When we have the proper key, and we do that again, we can see that it goes down a lot. Let's put this side. I think this is the side I used before. No, maybe it was the side. So you can see right now that's about where we were before. It goes down a lot, right? So it's able to drop down into the gates. So with that, we're able to push the inside of the lock out. Now we don't need the key because we got the little pins into the past this groove. So you see how the groove only goes partway down? That stops the pins from being able to be removed. So I see the pins are this way. I want to catch them maybe with my fingers, but I'm not going to bother. I'm just going to let the bottom one shoot out. And here's an O-ring right here. So that makes it a little bit harder to, like, it gives a little friction disassembling. And when we assemble it, it's a little hard to get in. I have to show you something. So then we pull this out, all right, and I felt the middle plunger shoot up. So here's one of the pins, right? And what the pins are doing is stopping the whole thing from turning. They are spring-loaded in here. And you can see there's a spring there, and the spring is pushing this plunger up. So this plunger goes up, and then the pin's right along here. So when it's all the way up, the pins can't go in. When it drops down, the pins can go in. So put this in there. And right now, I can't even, if I can find my little thing, I can't push it all the way down. Or maybe I can, depending. No, I can't. The rotors have been scrambled. All right, so to get to the rotors, we need a little Allen key right here. Take this out, a little grub screw. We'll take those out the way. And now you can just pull the back off. I'm going to do it like this actually. Pull the back off. And inside we have our 3 rotors, right? And you can see, hopefully on each of them, that there's a little cut, and that's the gate, okay? Once all these are aligned, if we use the key, let's see which way this goes, up there. If we use the key, you can see all these snap around, And you see how the rotors align in the middle? That allows the stick on this little plunger to drop into the middle there. And if they're not lined up, then you can't drop down and release everything. Come with our magnet, right? It rotates everything around. And the unlock position with the magnet was somewhere down here. And you can see how they're very close. If I just move this like this, and you can see it's basically open right there with the magnet on one side. And that's how I was getting the open before. Now for assembly, you put this thing back on with all the pieces, and you'd put the, actually we'll go ahead and put the grub screw back in right here. And to reassemble, you put those pieces back in, but that'll take time. So when you're sliding this in, right, you see how the O-ring doesn't let it go in. So there's the spring for the plunger. So what I do is give yourself a little space, and now with the O-ring, there's grease everywhere. O-ring, you can push it down with your nail or a tool like that and work your way all the way around. And then once you get it all in, once you get that all in, now you can slide the thing in, obviously with all your bits in. But that is the Capital Magnetic Cam Lock. Thanks everyone, bye.